Well, Magnus Nielsen, thank you very much indeed. Okay, so a couple of questions. First of all, you've made the headlines, obviously, with various comments about freedom of religion and so on. Do you believe in the absolute right to freedom of religion, the freedom to practice and worship?
Freedom of religion, yes, under the terms of our ordinary understanding of human rights, which comes from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Yes, people should be allowed to practice their religion, but they shouldn't be allowed to practice it in a way which actually intervenes with the rights of other people, I would have thought.
And one of the refreshing things a lot of people think about UKIP is the fact that candidates are given quite a long leash by Nigel Farage to speak their minds, to wander off script sometimes and say things that isn't always approved by the hierarchy. Do you think that sometimes your off-the-cuff remarks might detract from the party's message and their efforts to be a more inclusive party sometimes?
Well, the party's message, essential message, is that we want to re-establish our right to govern ourselves as a nation, which I would think is a perfectly legitimate cause to be standing for, considering that we did so much as a British Empire to allow other countries to establish their independence. What we're now asking for is our independence from the European Union. That is the essential position of the UK Independence Party, and that's what I stand for, and that's why I've joined and wish to represent it. But as a party, we include all sorts of people coming into the party from all sorts of different backgrounds, and we have a number of people actually standing as candidates who come from ethnic minorities and religious minorities. And we welcome them. In fact, I think it's true to say that UKIP is the only party which will not allow you to become a member if you've been a member of the BNP. That is not true of the Labour Party. There have been previous members of the BNP who've joined that party. Okay. So we're very rigorous about that, in fact.
And finally, just to finish up, what would the UK's secession from the European Union actually look like? How would it be done, and what would the timescale be from a no vote in a referendum or an out vote in a referendum to Britain actually leaving?
Well, there's always a chance that the European Union could collapse, in which case we'll then be forced to work on a situation where we're independent. There's, I don't know if you've been following in the news, the situation with Greece. Greece has got to repay a considerable amount of money to the Eurozone. I think it's by the 23rd of this month, and if they don't, then they could be out of the Eurozone completely, in which case it looks to me as if the whole European project will unwind. But what I would like to see, and I think it's perfectly feasible that a country like Great Britain could become an independent country, given that small countries like Singapore, which was once part of the Malaysian Federation, decided to go its own way and set itself up as an independent nation. We have very much more going for us in Britain than Singapore has, and I think we do very well indeed. Brilliant. We have, after all, the English language, which is a great advantage to make contact with America, Canada, all the former dominions, but also with places like China, because on present trends, I'm assured that if things go on as they are, China is going to become the world's largest English-speaking country by 2030.
And do you oppose then the TTIP trade deal being negotiated at the moment between the EU and the European Union?
Do I oppose it? You've got me on that one, because I don't really know the details, but as I understand it, I don't think anyone actually, the full details actually haven't been disclosed to anyone. So
it's quite opaque.
Yes, it's a mystery to everyone. Do I oppose it? In principle, it sounds like a good idea, but I'd really have to thoroughly examine it. I wouldn't want TTIP to damage British institutions like the health service. If it did, then I would oppose it.
Okay, Magnus, thank you very much indeed for speaking with me.